minute.
Bruh.
So I play this game once in a while nowadays. Since I don't do Candle Run anymore, most of the time I am hanging out in Prairie and chatting with people to spend time. And then I met this person who seems to be trying to fool a new player into buying an account. This illegal trading and transactions seems to be increasing in-game, with new player wanting older cosmetic and not wanting to do grind for new. These in turn has caused a spike of scammer in the game and outside of the game trying to fool already trusting player base. In fact, scamming has reached such a horrendous situation that if you go to any Facebook group or online group about this game transaction, you will get the warning about scammers. Not only that, there is a dedicated website in order to flag scammers and find out about their history. How did a wholesome game with just some simple in-game currency and cosmetic reach this level of scammer? Let's discuss, and I would also talk about different type of scam going on here. All players know, this game has various types of in-game currency, with almost all focus of it being to buy cosmetic and some items. In-game, currency is earned with grinding for candles and gift from friends. There is no gacha system, other underlying stuff. This game can be played without having to buy cosmetic, but there are special places you can get access with the certain cosmetic, like Asteroid Cape, Aurora Wings, and so on. But almost all of the game can be experienced without having to own any cosmetic or having to grind a lot of in-game currency. So first question, why are there so much transactions that happens outside game? Despite what many might say, has gradually turned into a cosmetic-centered game. Sure, you don't need to buy these cosmetics to enjoy the core gameplay, just like you don't need expensive clothes to go outside. But for many, the reality is, in Sky, cosmetics have become a symbol of identity and status. They're how players express themselves, stand out. During early days, this caused TGC to turn every stranger a simple character so as not to make some people stand out. But with the amount and number of cosmetic, the game isn't pay to win. It has become pay to express, and that's where much of its player motivation now lies. Let's go back to the early days of Sky. There was no chevron system, no grandma cake, no geyser boosts. If you wanted candles, you had to earn them the slow way. Back then, farming candles could take up to 1.5 to 2 hours just to get 10 or 11 of them. You had to travel across every realm and just get maybe 3 candles from single realm. And during that time, being a top player didn't mean having fancy capes from the shop. It meant you had the black cape, the white cape, or maybe the elder hair. Those were legendary flexes. You were the king. If you saw someone carrying the normal chair or wearing the elder hair, you knew they had put in hours, maybe months of work. Even gifting hearts back then was a big deal. Giving someone 3 candles meant you had to farm an entire realm just to afford it. A single heart was precious. Having over 200 or 300 candles was considered insane. People would literally stop and think you were spending actual money to buy candles. But as you can imagine, the player base increased, and so frustration for many players started to grow. The grind was long, and the cosmetics everyone loved, especially fan favorites like elder hair, were so hard to get that people started looking for shortcuts. And that's when the first signs of player-to-player transactions began to appear. At first, it wasn't malicious, it was actually kind of wholesome. Some players, usually those with free time or veteran players, would offer to help others with candle runs. They'd post on social media saying things like, "Hey, I'm doing candle runs today. Anyone can join." It wasn't about money or profit, it was about helping the community, or players could simply ask for other players for Candle Run. And after Candle Run, some players would gift heart to the lead person as thanking. And then I would say petty players were emerged, asking for hearts with stranger by saying sad story of not having friends or something. Sometime they would also say they would return heart next day after Candle Run, but it never came. I think most of the players have faced these petty player. But seeing the request and demand for candle runs, people began to offer this service for actual cash or sometime IAP, with the influx of IAP and older season traveling spirits cosmetic. So we have very first scams that occurs in-game. These used to be incredibly common but seems to have declined recently, especially since many newer cosmetics are no longer bought with hearts but by candle and real money. Even now, players would look for cheap deals, getting candles and hearts for just a few bucks. The process involved using multiple alternate accounts to send hearts or assist in candle runs, exploiting the game's friendship system. While it seemed simple, it quickly became a hotspot for scams. Countless players reported being ghosted after sending payment or, in other cases, not receiving payment after delivering the agreed items. Almost every game has this problem. Some games even allow it, but of course, Sky does not. But if you want to buy a Sky account, can you guess the price range can be Let me remind you, some groups on Facebook and Discord have detailed guide on how to put a price on an account. So right now, if you go looking for an account, you will find account pricing as little as $4 to over $1,000. This clearly shows Sky Black Market is pretty much a healthy place. That alone tells you how active and how risky this market is. If you are thinking, why even spend such amount? Mostly cosmetics and status. There's no other real purpose. Players want rare capes, hairstyles, or full collections without the grind. Trying to stand out, unique. Knowing that real money are used as scammers obviously see an opportunity and why victims can lose a lot when a deal goes wrong. With many veteran players quitting, there's no shortage of accounts for sale. You can find everything from starter accounts to fully maxed event-packed profiles. So how do these transactions actually happen? I see two common methods. The seller posts a listing, shares screenshots or videos as proof, and a buyer sends payment directly. Scammers exploit this by reposting someone else's screenshots or using stolen footage to make a fake listing look legitimate. Once the buyer pays, the seller disappears, money gone, account never transferred. Here, the seller asks a trusted third party to act as an escrow. The buyer sends money to the middleman, the seller gives account access to the middleman, and the middleman releases both when satisfied. So, when middlemen are unreliable, the middleman disappears, both money and account can vanish. Other common tricks include proof videos that are edited or outdated, and the classic ghosting after receiving payment or account credentials. Because these trades happen outside official systems, victims rarely have recourse, and reporting the scam can be awkward since buying accounts violates the game's terms of service. And I also see players complaining to TGC that their account got permanently banned without reason, but sometimes this may be reason and does not want to admit it. Another major type of scam in Sky happens around in-app purchases and season passes being sold through third parties. Normally, you're supposed to buy or gift these passes and IAP directly in-game only, after being friends for a few days and meeting in person. But in many regions where international payment is difficult or banned, players turn to agents, people who offer to buy the IAPs for them at a certain price or in local currency. It sounds convenient, but this has opened a floodgate of scams. Players send money through local wallets, and the seller simply disappears. No season pass, no refund. Because the transaction happens outside the official system, the game developers can't help, and it becomes almost impossible to track or recover the money. Another form of scam that's become surprisingly common in the Sky community revolves around trading art or creative work for in-game purchases. It usually starts with good intentions. An artist offers to draw a fan art, profile picture, or even a detailed scene in exchange for a season pass or some IAP item. On paper, it sounds like a win-win. The artist gets rewarded for their talent, and the buyer receives a unique piece of art that reflects their love for the game. But just like with other forms of unregulated trading, this system relies completely on trust, and sadly, that trust gets broken a lot. Many players have shared stories of being ghosted after sending their art, or artists never receiving the promised IAP after completing their work. These scams spread fast, hurting both genuine artists and kind buyers who just wanted to support them. And again, because these exchanges happen entirely outside the game's system, there's no real protection, no proof, and no accountability. What's worse, a few bad actors can ruin the entire experience for everyone, making honest creators hesitant to offer commissions and creating a general sense of distrust in the community. At the end of the day, Sky is an open online game that thrives on connection and creativity, but where there are good people, there will always be those who exploit trust. Scams from fake heart and candle transactions to account sales, third-party IAP purchases, art trades, and many more have grown alongside the game's cosmetic-driven culture. While the core game remains completely playable without spending a single penny, the desire for rare cosmetics and shortcuts has created a perfect breeding ground for malicious players. I don't think many new players realize how insane the craze for the owl hair once was, and honestly, still is, as newer, flashier cosmetics continue to capture people's attention. These scams don't just cause financial loss. They slowly chip away at the trust, warmth, and community that Sky was originally built on. But are all players doing bad things? Absolutely not. Are all trades fake? Of course not. There are plenty of genuine people out there creating fair, win-win exchanges. Some are students, young artists, or hardworking players just trying to earn a little something in return. Sadly, it only takes a few bad actors to make a good place feel not so nice. I hope nobody ventures into these markets without knowing what they're getting into. Cosmetics may drive many players to keep playing, but spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars on virtual pixels from a random stranger just doesn't make much sense to me. Sky is a world about sharing, but make sure it's not your wallet that ends up being shared with a scammer. Stay cautious, be aware of offers that seem too good to be true, and never share your account details, no matter how trustworthy someone appears. I've seen players lose accounts even to friends in the game. If you do trade season passes or IAPs, stick to people you know and trust, and always double-check for red flags online. Try to avoid buying or selling accounts. It violates the game's rules and can lead to serious consequences, in-game or even in real life. By staying alert, trading safely, and following the rules, you can enjoy Sky while keeping both your account and wallet safe. But if you've got money to burn, well, that's another story.